Again, these are all at derrickbros.contently.com, and all the stuff we went over before can be found at theconsciousresistance.com. And I want to remind you, you are listening to The Conscious Resistance Live. My name is Derrick Bros. Thank you guys for supporting us. If you ever want to support further, you can go to the website and look under the Invest tab, and there's all kinds of information there. Download the book, share the articles. We really appreciate your support. Just want to remind you guys that it's monumental, because what I'm doing and this idea to bring together people under a network or a label of activists is to spread awareness, because the more ideas spread, the more the messages out there, the stronger each of us are as individuals, and the more likely it is that we're going to create this free world that I think that we're all working towards. So I need you, you need me. Let's work together. Let's spread information. Let's share it. Let's make it go viral, and let's focus on the solutions, because that's where it's really at. So this next story that we're going to be covering, these next couple, they go into the surveillance area, which is one of my fortes, keeping up with surveillance news, the way Big Brother is watching you. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I read 1984 when I was too young, and now I'm just obsessed with the idea and the knowledge that somebody is watching and listening to me at all times. What do you want? Get out of my head. Stop paying attention to me. I just want to be free. But there are solutions. First step, spread awareness. Second step, build counter technology to combat the surveillance. Third step, create your own surveillance networks, survey those who are trying to control your lives, and then eliminate it. But I think that really the problem here is that we've passed the point of no return. We have technology of amazing sorts that really allows us to be up in each other's lives, and it's ridiculous. And how do you go backwards? Once you've established this level of this panopticon, like, do we really think that any law that gets passed, that all of a sudden the government's just going to get rid of this billions and billions of dollars worth of technology and time and research and energy, and just, we'll just put it back, we'll go backwards, we won't use it? Yeah, right. Once it's out of Pandora's box, as the phrase goes, there's no going back. How can we stop? I don't really see a real solution to stopping the proliferation of surveillance. Some people would say we need to have a complete surveillance society so that everything is seen as everything is on record, and there can be accountability, and there will no longer be lying, and there will not be deception and things like that. I think that's kind of freaky. What are your thoughts? The Supreme Court may review the U.S. government's cell phone kill switch. A lot of you might not know this, but the government has a cell phone shutdown policy known as the kill switch. The Electronic Privacy Information Center last week filed a petition with the U.S. Supreme Court trying to get them to force the U.S. government to reveal information about the kill switch. They've been fighting for this information since July 2011, when, as some of you may remember, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, or the BART officials in San Francisco, they shut down cellular networks during a protest of a murdered homeless man. This guy got murdered. Everybody came out there, started rallying around at the BART station. They were shutting it down, and all of a sudden cell networks started getting all screwy. Everybody's phones started going down. Activists' live streams got screwed up. It was a big thing, and the BART officials still deny that they had anything to do with it. They said they never blocked the cell networks. But shortly after that, EPIC, the Electronic Privacy Information Center, submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to the Department of Homeland Security, and they were trying to find out what the procedures are regarding these actions. First, the DHS lied and said, we are unable to locate or identify any responsive records. However, in November 2013, a district court ruled that the DHS had improperly withheld information, specifically information regarding something known as Standard Operating Procedure 303 or SOP 303. This is the important part. Pay attention. The DHS appealed this decision and was once again allowed to withhold records. Now EPIC is taking the fight to the Supreme Court. In their petition to the Supreme Court, EPIC argues that, quote, absent a Supreme Court review, the decision of the Court of Appeals could transform the FOIA from a disclosure to a withholding statute. So they're basically saying if somebody doesn't intervene, allowing them to deny records based on these faulty criteria is going to completely change FOIA law, and it's going to allow the government to continue withholding of things, as they already do. In case you haven't known, if you don't know, the government constantly denies FOIA requests on shady reasoning, lack of reasoning, and gets away with it. Little is known about these programs, but Epic writes that a 2011 report from the White House asserted that the National Security Council and the Office of Science and Technology Policy have the legal authority to control private communication systems in the United States during times of war or other national emergencies. Also, on July 6, 2012, the White House approved an executive order seeking to ensure the continuity of government communications during a national crisis. As part of the executive order, DHS was granted the authority to seize private facilities when necessary, effectively shutting down or limiting civilian communications. So we have an executive order that's going to give the DHS, the agency involved with FEMA, power to shut down civilian or limit civilian communications in times of emergency, whatever the hell that means, national crisis, whatever that means. And we also have a report from 2011 from the White House. So we have two admissions here that this program exists, yet they are trying to tell Epic that there is no records of such things. Epic has asked the court for 3 specific pieces of information regarding the kill switch program. They want to see the full text of SOP 303, the full text of the predetermined series of questions that determines if a shutdown is necessary, and any executing protocols related to the implementation of SOP 303 distributed to the DHS and other federal agencies. So, we need to really get to the bottom of this if we're going to understand how this kill switch works and what it can do. And again, how do we stop this? I don't know. And we need to have backup plans, mesh networks that aren't based on mesh networks for internet and for cellular communication. And there are some off-the-grid cell phones out there and text messaging devices. If you do your research well enough, you'll find them. But we need to create our own network so that when they try to shut down the networks that everyone else is using, or go to AT&T, their best friend, or Verizon or whoever, they're not able to just do that. They can't just coerce them into shutting down, and we have our own backup networks that we are then able to continue using, and we are not limited. Next story that I have here, the Justice Department is facing a lawsuit. Lots of lawsuits here because the government doesn't want to tell people what it's working on. Justice Department faces lawsuit over DNA collection program. The Electronic Frontier Foundation is suing the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI for failing to provide documents related to the rapid DNA system. The FBI said they found no responsive records to Freedom of Information Act requests by the EFF. That seems like to be a common refrain here. Oh, we didn't find anything. And that's the same shit I'm hearing on the city level. I mean, I guarantee if I had the money to sue them and push it further, there would probably be some documents revealed, but I don't have those resources just yet. Rapid DNA analyzers are machines designed to allow processing of a DNA sample in as little as 50 minutes. The machines are portable and roughly about the same size as a laser printer. This means that law enforcement using rapid DNA can collect the DNA sample from a suspect and match the profile against a database without the help of a scientist in an accredited lab. The EFF believes this will lead to further invasions of privacy. According to the FBI's own fact sheet, the first Rapid DNA Program Office was established in 2010 to direct the development and integration of rapid DNA technology for use by law enforcement. The EFF is concerned that rapid DNA is simply another aspect of the growing use of biometrics. Biometrics is of course defined as the measuring and analysis of such physical attributes as facial features and voice or retinal scans. Obviously, there are some privacy risks associated with the collection of DNA. If you've got this sucker-ass cop on the side of the road just pulling over people and just saying, oh, I suspect you of drug use, or I suspect you of this, so I need to temporarily detain you, and in that process, we're also going to collect your DNA for our records, it's going to be some dangerous stuff. And this is a future. You see some like Brave New World 1984 type shit where you can't get into places unless you've got your DNA scan or whatever. It's a slippery slope. It gets dangerous. Jennifer Lynch, the EFF senior staff attorney, said, incredibly, the FBI told us it found no records responsive to our request, even though it has been funding and working with manufacturers to develop the technology and has a whole webpage devoted to the subject. The FBI said it couldn't locate a single document about this major effort to use rapid DNA. In March, it was reported that the Tucson PD in Arizona would begin using rapid DNA, and the San Diego PD in California, they recently put out their own article responding to the New York Times for a report on the department using their system. And now we've got cops in the UK. They just did their first upload of results from this rapid DNA system to their national DNA database. So obviously this thing's being used but the government says it's not officially happening yet, that they still have to change certain rules and regulations before it will be put into use, and they claim to have no information about it. But it's being put into place already. This is similar to the Stingrays and the fight against the Stingrays. They're lying to you people. Don't you recognize? They're lying. The cops are lying. They're not going to tell you the truth. They're lying. Speaking of Stingrays, and I'm going through these kind of rapid fire because, I mean, I don't want it to get too repetitive here, but let me just give it to you this way. They're spying on you through your phones. They're spying on you through your DNA. They're spying on you through these machines that can see into your house. They have drone surveillance. They've got all kinds of stuff. And that's the point I'm trying to get to you here. The Panopticon is real, but it's for your education, for your awareness, so you're not out there putting stupid ass information online where in places where it shouldn't be and getting yourself caught up, man. You got to be smart about this. Remember that these people are trying to catch you doing things like smoking plants or just living your life or you working without a business license or whatever it may be. And if you want to be smart, then you need to be aware. A new report from the Center for Investigative Reporting reveals that police in Chicago and LA are using advanced cell site simulators or Stingray surveillance technology that is capable of breaking cell phone encryption. Now, you know, I've written extensively about this topic. You can find tons of articles from me on all the different outlets I write for, going very deep into this. So catch up on that if you don't know what a Stingray is. It's basically a tool that allows you to trick cell phones into sending all of its information by acting as a fake cell tower. The new information that we have, though, has nothing to do with the Harris Corporation, which is the corporation that I've reported on most until this recent revelation. This company called DRT, Digital Receiver Technology, a Maryland company acquired by Boeing in 2008. Their cell site simulator is not known as a Stingray, and it's actually stronger. It's just called the DRT or Dirt Box. And it's capable of breaking encryption on communications from 200 cell phones simultaneously across 4G frequencies. So the other ones operated mainly on 2G and 3G. This is the latest bad boy 4G, break your cell phone encryption, steal all your data, and feed it to the cops box here. And it's being used in LA and Chicago, and I guarantee you it's being used other places too. So check out the article, learn more about it, start doing FOIA requests in your area, open records requests. Find out only you can stop surveillance and forest fires.